gotta mess with the chat thing here. Live chat. Ta-da. All right, kids. Don't know how long my phone's gonna hold out, so this may be a short live stream. Finally back in my hometown, or at least where I live, not my hometown. And catching up on the news, I was watching it while I was traveling. I tend to be a little bit more alert to the goings-on of society when I'm on the road, because I don't want to drive into a protest or a riot or some other horse shit imbecile conjuring oof these roads and cause. So the title of this video, I still see dumbass people, and I still do. The Hey, Southern Tier, what is going on in our students in the hospital had gotten taken to the ER, and these morons on the Golden Gate Bridge, he couldn't get through. He actually wound up going and Spartan kicking someone out off the road, and then the cops almost arrested. This is anecdotal information, but hey, Nanya and Southern Tier, you keep breaking up. Yeah, hey, Holly. I'm driving, it's kind of in that weird zone of my town. Oops, hold on. So, hey, Niels, welcome. So, people are pissed, and it's all because of stupid people. I read an article, it was a historical piece that said, in the past, Marxist revolutions were started typically with two groups. One, workers who were treated unfairly. Hey, Vision. And two was college students. Now, the workers who were angry is usually because of financial collapse. But the college students, according to the article, is because they were easy to manipulate because they had no life experience. They were not working on dad's farm. Hey, KP. They were not out working for a living. They were unsuccessful for the most part in the commercial enterprises and wound up in academia. Now, that's not always the case. I know a lot of professors who were very good, you know, like engineers, for instance. They were good engineers. They worked at NASA and JPL and Boeing, and then decided to take the academic route. But it's interesting that you have all these were getting hit by cars. They blocked a road. There we go. Hey, Cold. No, Cold War was me. There's a couple of little spots in the city that cause me trouble. But yeah, these people, they keep blocking folks from conducting their lives. Then it's illegal for me to block a road. If I go and I decide to be a jackass and I put trash cans and whatnot on the street in Texas, I'm probably either going to get run off or get arrested if I don't take a beating for impeding other human beings, right? Because we're a civilized society. So we have this generation of blockheads who they go in the street and they block people from getting to work, getting to their family. I don't care if my freaking wife, the mother of my kids, is in the ER. A friend calls me and goes like, hey, we just took your wife to the ER. You need to go, and Antifa's in the way, or whatever. I'm blaming Antifa. It may not be Antifa. It could be Free Palestine. Whatever pendejo is in the road, I'm going to go and start kicking people off the road. If they don't move, I'm going to start rolling over them very slowly and squishing some feet. Because they're not supposed to be doing that. And the politicians are so afraid of the optics that they're not enforcing quality of life laws. It's like all of you can, you know, because, oh, this 1% of douchebags over here wants to sit and be butthurt and cause chaos. Why are we tolerating that? So, you know, I find it amusing now that, you know, people are beating up and fighting with the protesters blocking the streets. And, oh, hold on, live chat. And, oh, shoot. And they're getting butthurt over this. And then Some of the footage I'm seeing on Twitter and X is just hilarious. There's one cop was dragging a guy by his ankles. A store owner came out with a hose and started hosing protesters off his corner. Like, he's just like, go away, like a cat. And I just find that humorous, that these meatheads behave this way, and then there's a consequence, and they don't know why they've gotten a consequence. Oops, sorry. The stupidity of people is just, it just blows my mind. So y'all need to be very mindful. I'm gonna do some more videos on it later. I know Vision's doing a series on beginner preps. I think you're starting soon. We need to be careful when we're on the road, because things are popping up very erratically. And they're popping up kind of out of the blue. And my fear is one of us, myself included, we could be on a business trip, we could be visiting family, and not know that something's about to happen after bug out weekend. Okay. And we won't know until we drive into it. So folks, pay attention. If I see anything, and I'm going to throw this out to everyone, including the other creators who are in here, if you hear of anything, like even though I'm in Texas, Vision's in Ohio, if I hear of a protest going on in Ohio from corporate security, it may not be out in public media. I'm going to try and put out a message and tag Mad Shad, Devil Dog and Vision, and say, hey, spread the word. I hear this. It may be invalid. It may not occur, but at least we know it's there, and you can kind of start planning accordingly. I'm afraid hey Billy, we're really seeing almost a Maoist behavior pattern here. And the only way we knew the power went out yesterday was we lost. Yeah, and Vision and I, there are a lot of us will text in little groups, and it gets around pretty quick if something happens. We need to be aware. And teach your young ones, right? Teach the teenagers. My teenagers, when they were in high school, they had I called it the oh shit kit, because they found that more amusing. But they had a small get-home bag in their car. Now, obviously, I had to be careful what I put in there, right? I couldn't put a gun or something like that, because then they'll get in trouble, and then I'll be in trouble. But there's no reason that they can't have some basics, flashlight, first aid kit, snacks, in the event something happens that they're not prepared for. Because honestly, I don't think we're gonna see it mellow out. I think if anything, it's gonna get a little, it's gonna get more salty as we go forward. Again, this is the methodology that was used in China, if I recall correctly, is they'll encourage a sector, usually. And they also try to divide by color, by religion, by race, to get people. Anyone catch Scott or Seth's Queen Saturday? I was again. No, Shannon, I did not. If you could email me that link, we can post. Yeah, my son wanted a knife in his bag in college. Negative Ghost Rider, I told him. Well, in college, it depends. Because if it's a work knife, it can be under a certain size. Protesters are Emory University in Georgia. Hey, Fallen Skies. Right. So some of the universities are telling them basically move over. One college, I think it was George Washington, was saying that they arrested a group of people who were getting out of hand, and out of the 10 that got arrested, hey, Orion, half of them were not college students. So, and this concerns the hell out of me too. So in the last month and change, we've watched major bridges and highways get blocked by protesters unexpectedly. We've had downtown thoroughfares in big cities get blocked. And now colleges have non-student third parties going in and disrupting the school. with all the unknown people entering this country, my God, if you had, imagine, how would I describe it? Imagine if you had just one person at each event, just one. So say you have 10 bridges, 10 colleges, and 10 interstates. So 30 locations, right? And each one has one person who does something bad. Not something like punch somebody or pepper spray. I'm talking Boston Marathon type situation. It doesn't even have to be effective. It can fail. It can just catch fire. Hell, there was a guy tried to detonate a vehicle in Times Square a few years ago. I don't know if you guys knew this, and he screwed up the explosive chain. And what wound up happening, the vehicle caught fire, and it was a very hot fire. But because he screwed up the explosive chain, he didn't detonate the vehicle. And what tipped people off was like the hot dog vendor was like, that car's on fire. So he called 911, said there's a car on fire. And the cops came up and he's like, whose car is this? He needs to move it. His car's on fire. So he called the fire department, and then, hey, Prepper Book Club. And then the cop was on horseback, and he went around and he kind of looked through a window and realized there were pyrotechnics inside, and said, oh shit. And then they cleared out Times Square, and we hardly any of us heard about it. And this was years ago. So that scares me. And yes, somebody said the groundwork's being laid. That concerns me. Imagine if you had 30 locations have an incident all at once. The damage could be minimal, right? Like it could be $100,000 in burnt crap and damages, and hell, nobody may even get hurt. But the general panic, people were buying trucks full of toilet paper for COVID. And that scares me. That scares the hell out of me. That bothers the hell out of me. Because you're driving and you're visiting family, and you get caught on a bridge, you get caught downtown, you get caught on the highway in the middle of nowhere, especially if, like Louisiana, where you have those deep, the deep ditches on each side of the highway. You can't get off the highway. You're stuck. Hey, prepping artists, and anyone else I've missed in the chat. So, folks, we've all been talking about it. Double check your get-home bags. Double check your truck kits. Like I said, I probably need to go through this because some of this is kind of old. But you know, these little meal prep kits, I got basic meds. They just come in handy. Yeah, exactly. And then they'll be locked down. We'll have martial law, whatever the hell will happen. But you know, I have all sorts of goodies, sweeteners, straws, because Chick-fil-A and Whataburger keep not giving me straws, which agitates me. So I stole like 10 of them and stuck it in there. But you know, having these amenities, and what I'll do if I have to bail from the vehicle is I pack my get-home bag a little bit light, so I have a little extra room. I basically could take all these bins and dump them. If I can't fit the bin itself, I'll empty them into the backpack and leave the area. So like if there's some, I don't know, the Godzilla or Cloverfield monster shows up, I'll get my bag, throw all my crap into my bag, and I'll go find a quiet place, and then I'll go through my bag if I have to resort myself and organize the way I pack things. You know, you're going to have to change on the fly if there's a major emergency. But double check your stuff. In most scenarios, though, you should be able to at least get back to your vehicle. Whether you can drive away, it may be different. But you should be able to at least get to the vehicle and get your stuff, because it's not practical to have a get-home bag and go to damn Walmart, right? That's kind of silly. Although I've seen some people lately with the little sling bags more and more. But you never know what you're going to get. Hey, Loretta. So folks, pay attention to where you're going. Do your homework. And don't plan on plan for that contingency. If I make it back to my vehicle, do I have the fundamentals here to grab my crap and get on foot? Swap out first weekend of May and first weekend on October. Yeah, that's a great idea. Kind of like when you switch your the batteries. Somebody told me when you do the batteries in your smoke alarms, check your get home bag for the season, which is that's about right. Maybe a month off, but yeah, that's a great suggestion. If you carry, and you carry differently when you're traveling versus like around town, practice with both firearms. You don't want to go from a safetyless pistol, like say a Glock or an HK, to a 1911 that has a single action only and it has a safety, right? Because you're going to forget under stress and you're going to react the wrong way. Make sure you train with your firearms. Make sure you train with your tourniquets. I actually sacrificed an Israeli bandage to show the wife, this is how you apply it, so she'd know. Now, I'm fortunate my adult kids, almost 201, including the in-laws, have medical training or first responder training, and they carry IFACs, all of them. Because you figure youngest son and his wife, but both Army, middle son and his wife is Army and a nurse, and the oldest two are veterinarian and a physician. So, and all are now in the prepping mode because they see, well, two of the couples, the third one's kind of struggling a little bit trying to figure it out, but they kind of see what's going on and they get it, and that's important. So I'm not super worried about them. Also factor in, and this is something Trent and I talked on his last live, and I think Mad Shad, when he was on my channel, we talked about it. You may have family have to come to you. I had a coworker today, started reading up about the nuclear threats from Russia, and he said, dude, that actually scares the crap out of me. He's like, I might have to go to your house. And he just got his first firearm. And not that he hasn't hunted or anything, he's from another country, but he had to get his green card and he just got it. So he's like, yes, but he has no ammo. I'm like, you need fire, you need bullets. And, you know, I'm joking with him. And I said, well, if you show up, man, grab all the canned food on the way. He's like, oh no, I figured out where all the Dollar Generals are. He said, if I have to come out to West Texas from the city, I'm going to hit everything on the way. My truck will be jingling like a maraca with all the canned food. And I'm like, okay, so he's thinking. His son actually works out here in my division, which is kind of funny. It's a father-son, both work for the company, but in two different areas. But I did tell him, look, if your son gets in a bind or he has questions, hey, Mrs. Metal, you know, come holler at me. But my coworkers are even starting to think of that. Another one, she's leaving the company. And they're also just got their green card as a family. She goes, my husband said that society is not stable and we need to get property and maybe a garden. And I'm like, and chickens too. She's like, you too? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to get chickens when I get my next property. So everyone's, yes, Indian food, Indian stores, the Asian markets, right? I don't know what you call them. We call them Asian markets because that's literally what's on the building. The Korean restaurants, not the restaurants, the grocery stores, they have all sorts of spices and other stuff that we don't think about. So think out of the box, start identifying resources and locations to get stuff now, right? Because everyone's going to go to Walmart. Everyone's going to go to like Kroger. Yeah, Asian markets. Not everyone's going to think, oh, Ace Hardware has propane, right? When you think of food, you don't think Ace Hardware, right? That sounds silly. But my Ace Hardware has dog food and it has camping snacks. Well, that constitutes stuff to eat. So start thinking outside the box a little bit. And again, double check your preps and do your homework. That's the big thing. Do your homework, because you will survive 100% of the riots and fights that you never get into. All right, I'm going to say that again just so it sticks. You will survive, or in theory, you'll survive 100% of the fights that don't get started. So if you can avoid a bad situation in general, that's the way to do things. So folks, I'm going to leave you with that. When I move my Monday afternoon video to next week, it's still a relevant topic then, but I wanted to jump on a quick live stream and say hi to everyone. Holly, Loretta, and anyone else I missed. Nuclear dirt fallout test will begin first responder and start soon. Yeah, and Fallen Skies, to that, I tried to get, before I left the Guard, I tried to get into the, we joke about it, it's the Area Zero or Ground Zero class. It's in Nevada, and they do the radiological classes for first responders, and I couldn't get the spot because it was constantly booked. I got the IED school, which was very horrifying and enlightening at the same time. But if you can take classes through CERT, the Red Cross, anything, any training, you get, even if you put the tourniquet on and it takes you 20 seconds longer because you haven't remembered it, it's better than someone standing there flapping like a chicken and going into shock because their friends are bleeding and they don't know what to do. So any training, even if you're a little out of practice, is better than zero training, because then you just have no course of action. So folks, train up, prep up, do your homework before you hit the road, especially as we get into the summer. Yes, stop the bleed classes are great. And if you work for companies, talk to your HR people. They very often have first aid, CPR, etc. classes at work. And they don't cost you anything because it's in the company's interest that all the employees know, like CPR in case someone has a heart attack, right? But it's a big class. Even if you don't get your Red Cross card, who cares? I got shown CPR, right? Whether I have a card or not is irrelevant. And it's nice to have a card if I'm a first responder or I'm Red Cross volunteer. But if I'm just some schlep on the street and like my friend has a heart attack, I want to be able to try and help them reasonably. So take the class even if you don't get the little card. Who cares? You know, if I lose my driver's license, I still know how to drive, right? So same logic. Anyway, folks, I'll leave you with that. Pay attention because consequences are occurring with people. And but I don't think we've seen the end of the stupid. See, Militant, exactly. I don't think we've seen the end of stupid. I think it's going to accelerate. And my fear is the arrogance of our leaders is that they think they can control it. And they're going to lose control. Someone else, some other power will get their hands in there and screw with something and make something catch fire. Something will get out of hand. I don't want to be driving to a meeting or with my granddaughter or something and get caught in the middle of the apocalypse. I'd rather deal with the apocalypse at my house than in the middle of a street in Dallas or Chicago. You know what I'm saying? You guys be good, be safe out there. Double check your trucks, double check your training, and just pay attention to how things pan out. Do your homework before you hit the road. I will see you all later. Thanks for joining me, guys. God bless and take care of yourselves.